This isn't about just one event. It's about a pattern, a sequence of moves that history shows us again and again always leads to the same place, collapse.
See, it doesn't just shatter, it unravels. It cracks under pressure, it gives way when a leader starts making a series of fatal moves.
And according to the analysis we're digging into today, this pattern, it's all about a leader who truly believes he cannot lose. And in this scenario, that leader is Donald Trump. It all starts not with some huge explosion, but with a quiet meeting. So here it is, the first move. It starts in a secret Board of Peace meeting. Donald Trump is there, and he's putting the squeeze on Middle Eastern powers, like Qatar, for money. The deal? It's pretty simple. Pay up for America's protection. This is the opening play in a game where the stakes are, well, they're absolute.
But then, boom, the whole board gets flipped upside down. After a signal from Israel, Donald Trump makes this stunningly impulsive move, an invasion of Iran. Just think about that. The very nations he just promised to protect are now trapped inside a war zone that he himself created. The reaction is instant. Qatar, and these are not people who exaggerate, issues this dark, urgent warning. They're saying this war could trigger a total collapse of the global economy. Not slow it down, collapse it. And here is exactly why. Traffic through the Strait of Hormuz, this is the planet's single most critical oil choke point. It drops by 92%. It's basically frozen solid. The very lifeblood of the global economy, it just stopped pumping. So what does that mean? Well, it means up to 20 million barrels of oil per day just vanish from the world's supply. This isn't just a disruption, it's a disappearance. An economic black hole opens up, one that is big enough to shatter the entire global system. And now, analysts are forecasting oil at $150 a barrel. We're not talking months from now, we're talking days away. The shockwave isn't coming, it's already here.
So, to try and calm this rising panic, Donald Trump makes this big, bold announcement. He says the United States government is going to ensure all cargo ships, freighters, tankers, you name it, sailing through this new war zone. If Iran attacks, America pays the bill. But here's the fatal flaw. The agency he put in charge of this, the U.S. Development Finance Corporation, it doesn't have the money. Not even close. It needs something like $352 billion, but it's short by around $200 billion. So the promise, it's a total bluff. And to get that money, you'd need an act of Congress, which, doesn't happen overnight. And this is where it gets really crucial, because the second the world realizes the king's promise is empty, the moment they see the bluff for what it is, that's when the collapse becomes unstoppable. All that confidence just evaporates. And right on cue, the cracks begin to spread. The crisis doesn't stay in one place. It starts to metastasize, and it exposes every single weakness that's been quietly festering in the system for years. The timing is just devastating. America is walking into a massive energy crisis, with its emergency fuel tank, the Strategic Petroleum Reserve, only 58% full. It was never refilled when oil was cheap. Just a catastrophic, totally unforced error. And that stress hits Wall Street hard. The giants, BlackRock and Blackstone, they're showing the strain. BlackRock actually freezes over $1 billion in withdrawal requests. Blackstone is forced to pump its own money in, $400 million, just to cover panicked investors pulling out. These are not normal market moves, people. These are signals of pure fear. But none of this is random. It's a textbook historical pattern. First comes overconfidence, then a critical overreach, and that's always followed by denial, right before reality comes crashing in with brutal force. And the thing is, once a leader overreaches, they never pull back. They just double down.
Which brings us to right now in this scenario. The system is flashing red alerts all over the place, but the official story is completely detaching from what's really happening. Welcome to the denial phase. It starts with Federal Reserve Governor Stephen Moran. With oil prices about to explode, he gets out there and claims there is no inflation problem. He actually calls it a measurement issue, like it's just some kind of statistical illusion. This is classic leadership trying to bend reality with words. But the actual data, it tells the real story. The February jobs report, which was recorded before the war even started, shows a shocking loss of 92,000 jobs. They were expecting a gain. The economic engine was already seizing up. But then you listen to Donald Trump's top economic advisor, Kevin Hassett. And despite that jobs report, he insists the economy is moving the fastest we have ever seen. He blames the job losses on the weather, on strikes, on anything but the real underlying weakness. And then the story changes. Congressman Mark Alford starts to prepare the public for sacrifice. Let me tell you, when politicians start talking about necessary pain, that is a crystal clear signal that the pressure on the system is way, way worse than they're admitting. And this might be the most revealing move of all. A Treasury official, Scott Bessent, actually floats the idea of unsanctioning Russian oil. Just think about that for a second. To solve a crisis with Iran, they are thinking about empowering Iran's biggest ally, Russia. You just don't make a move like that unless you are absolutely desperate for relief. So the system is clearly being pushed right to its absolute limits. The final stage isn't guaranteed, but history shows us that from this point forward, there are really only a few ways this can go. Okay, so the first path is stabilization, where things kind of calm down. The second is economic contraction, a really painful downturn as all these shocks ripple through the economy. And the third, the most dangerous, is a full-on geopolitical reshaping, where the crisis just escalates, forcing new conflicts, new alliances. The scary part is the system never tells you which path it's on until it's far too late. So the signals are all there, right? The overreach, the economic shock, a huge failed bluff, and just deep, deep denial from leadership. History shows us this pattern almost never ends without some kind of reckoning. So the only question left to ask is this: what stage of the cycle are we actually in, and which stage is coming next?